How are you? It's me, Emil Guillermo. Emil Amok to you with the takeout. Emil Amok's takeout because we're still taking out after all these months, soon to be all these years, still taking out. Look, I am so glad that I canceled travel plans because people would have been stranded. I'm just glad I had the foresight to be grinchy about things because it's Christmas Eve and the airports are crazy. They don't have enough staff. They're canceling flights. It's just best to be here in front of my dimpled gong and my garlanded dimpled gong and to be with you here safely on Christmas Eve. Hey, this is what I like to call the micro talk show of the AAPI and the AAXs, or you don't have to be either of those. You could be the ALLs, all's the rest of you. Welcome to the program. We're here 2 Pacific Live, and if you notice, I'm on a little early. It's it's because there was just so much stuff I wanted to share with you before we start at 2 o'clock Pacific Live. With the formal part of what is show 208. This is our holiday, Emil Amok's Christmas Eve holiday story time. But there was just so much stuff to talk to you about in the lead up. And it's all emanating, of all places, from Boston. Like, I was talking on the phone with my friend, Jimmy Garoppolo, who throws an interception in the football game, 49ers against the Titans, which looked like the 49ers were going to win. Then they lost. And then my friend's talking football. And then incidentally, he says, "Oh, I tested positive for COVID." This is just a performer friend of mine who, we met at some fringe festivals that we've done. And, I just could tell he just needed a little comfort. Fortunately, he's double vaxxed and boosted. So what happened was this was a breakthrough case. He did something foolish with his family. They went out, they gathered, and they got sick together. I mean, his brother's got COVID. He's not going to be the only case. And so it was just another reminder that, holidays being holidays and the need to gather. They were gathered for a college graduation, one of those midterm graduations, which was fun. They went to a bar, they went, but he's got COVID. Now, it's not as serious. This is one of the good things about Omicron. You may not get it as seriously, but it still takes its toll. Thank goodness he's vaccinated. If you're unvaccinated, that's a problem. You ought to get vaccinated. There's still time. But I'm glad you know, I'm glad for my friend that he's vaccinated. He got the breakthrough case, but I think he'll be all right. So I got this call from Boston, and then I'm reading the Boston papers, and for Asian Americans, this is a significant case. It's the case of the young woman who was texting her boyfriend. Remember that? They're both Boston College students. In Young Yu, born in South Korea and an American citizen now. Her boyfriend, Alex Ortula, Filipino American. She sent him thousands, literally thousands of texts. And her case, she was supposed to go up to the highest court in Massachusetts. She was convicted, but now she's dropping the appeal because yesterday she pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter. In Young Yu, given 2.5-year suspended sentence. And this was quite the story because here's the lead from the Boston Globe. A former Boston College student charged with goading her boyfriend to take his own life avoided prison time on Thursday by agreeing to plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter and accept her role in Alex Ortula's death, a plea deal blessed by the victim's family. This is a long and involved case. She Had she gone to trial on this, she could have faced up to 20 years in prison. Instead, she gets a 2.5-year suspended sentence, 10 years of probation. The district attorney who brokered the deal says this agreement with defense counsel was made in close consultation with the Ortula family. It is consistent with their desire to seek accountability and closure to protect the legacy of Alexander, a loving son, brother, and uncle. They believe this is something that Alexander would have wanted. I mean, this is when it broke 2019, it was, of course, before COVID. It was on graduation day, as you'll recall. They got in a fight, exchanging texts. She was controlling his life, continually badgering him. And then he said he was going to end it. And then she pleaded to not. And I think that was probably the reason why she was able to get the plea deal, involuntary manslaughter. But the judge said, in imposing the sentence, urged you to make every possible effort to live your life in a way that honors the memory of Alexander Ortula. And that is why it's a good Christmas story. Because put yourselves in the shoes of the Ortula family, their son, 2019, about to graduate from Boston College, right? Gets into this fight with his girlfriend and kills himself. And imagine the young lady, her family, how broken up they are. And they were at Boston College, so there's a bit of spirituality, religiosity within. And imagine how they must have been throughout all these years since 2019. And fortunately for COVID, or because of COVID, this case was kept localized. Because I was looking through the papers today and I saw it and I said, oh, man, I was wondering about what had happened to this case, the disposition. But this is the thing about deals that come up at Christmas time. There is a place that people find in their hearts for forgiveness. Here is a statement read in court, as reported by the Boston Globe. The family, Mr. Ortula's family said, quote, "We bear no feelings of anger or reprisal. We believe that time will take us through in the moments we mourn and celebrate his life." And this is why I thought before we get into the holiday spirit, we should remember truly the holiday spirit during the tough parts, the tough things in life that happen during the holidays. When you're asked to show love to people who, by all logic, would suggest there is no love for someone who you feel is responsible for the death of your son. And yet, you just know that this is best. Another statement from the Ortula family, May 20th, 2019 was to be a celebration of graduation and the beginning of his productive life. But instead of him moving forward into the world, planning and enjoying the next steps, we, his family, abruptly found ourselves planning and attending his funeral. It was so painful, very painful on the drive back home. But we bear no feelings of anger or reprisal. We believe that time will take us through in the moments we mourn and celebrate his life. It's the Christian way, right? And I talk about this story before we get into our holiday story time because this is a family in mourning, a family in grief, a family with some control to say to the lawyers, go after Miss You, DA, go after, go with the full force of the law. But they found in themselves, especially now during this time, to find that place in their heart that says, here's a better answer. Here's a better solution. And young you gets 2.5 years, suspended sentence. She's on probation, 10 years. She avoids, she could have faced 20 years in prison. And the Ortula family said, let's work on getting to an answer. And that spirit of forgiveness was found coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, this holiday season. Maybe it's a miracle. I mean, that's what we look for during Christmas, right? We look for these miracles. We look for these moments. We look for these moments that say, we got to do better. Something has to be better, right? And they found it. So I shared that story about the Ortulas and In Young Yu because, like I said, it's a sad story, but ultimately, it was a sad story in 2019, sad story in the Asian American community, but also it sends a message to everyone who might use social media now, young people using social media to, indicate their love for some undying love for someone. Or look, people are fragile these days during the holidays. You do something wrong, something can happen. If you know someone who's not feeling well, depressed, down by the holidays, reach out, help them. I mean, every story that I'm seeing about this also includes the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-TALK, because this is the kind of stuff that happens when things aren't quite right. But somehow the holiday season finds a way to get to the best answer. And I was touched by the Ortulas willing to forgive, because I know when things have been done wrong to me or my family, sometimes there's that, or I mean, maybe you can relate too. You want to fight back. You want to, that you want to attack. Well, the best thing is to stand back and say, how can we get to that moment of peace and love? Spirit of Christmas. All right. It's time for our holiday party. We had a holiday party of sorts yesterday. Professor Dan Gonzalez was here. We're talking about Filipino food and Filipino decorations and whatnot. And then also the news and our regular show 207. But this is show 208, Emil Amok's Christmas Eve holiday story time, 2 o'clock. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. I'm doing this live. I know that it might be late wherever you are. Maybe Christmas is like well on its way. I mean, if you're in Europe, and the Europeans out there, well, we know that We know the Dutch are locked down, according to the news. I mean, we are not in 2020. We're not in March 20. We are, in fact, worse than we were in March 2020. If you look at all the graphs, but we're going to make do because we have ways in which to show our love, in which ways in which to show our gratitude. And I thought for the holidays, for the Christmas holiday, this is one way to talk about holiday stories, family stories. I got family all over in the Philippines. I got family in Dubai. I got family in um, all over Hawaii, family in San Francisco, all over the Bay Area, family in New York, family in where are they? Oh, they're not there anymore. They're somewhere else. They're in California. And I thought, okay, let's tell some family stories. And this is my family story. When I talk about Christmas, it's about, and if you go to the ALDF blog, aaldf.org/blog, maybe I'll put something up there. But this is a story, the whole story, my three Christmas trees. This year, we're again in the dark, finding a new variant and seeking light. So when I want to get into that Christmas mood, I look for it, especially early in the morning when the day is darkest and the sun is about to rise. I'm sitting with my coffee. It happened today, this morning. I sit with my coffee. I plug in the only light in the room, a Christmas tree, the light. It's always about the light in the morning or even at the other end of the day, the PM, especially in San Francisco, when a gray day in December goes from danky to dark. And the only light that will illuminate and immediately change the mood is the light of a well-lit Christmas tree. It's life by Christmas tree. Christmas tree light, the only light needed this time of December. Not to be confused with my fake tree, which some people might call Christmas tree light, like Bud Light. A fake tree, Bud Light, Christmas tree light. No, I love fake trees. I would now. My love of the artificial tree runs deep. Oh, why get hung up on real when even the light is artificial? Until you see them all together, and then there's this glow. And things go from artificial to Xmas just like that. You don't need a tree to shed pine needles to be magical. I try not to be a tree grump. There are chauvinists out there say, oh, I insist on real. No, no, no. Me, I'll stick with my unboxed, inorganic, perpetual, evergreen. Hard plastic, soft lights, the feel of Christmas. The first tree. In my family, my dad was always in charge of the tree. A real tree? No way. Our tree was plastic, special, modern, eternal. My dad's tree came in pieces, like a 5,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. He didn't even read the instructions. It was like the tree was its own Ouija board. He had all these pieces and he knew what it had to look like. But the pieces had a way of finding each other, like perfect triangles stacked on one on top of another. All these pieces of plastic. Every year, this would be my dad's challenge, to make the geometry work. Two right triangles with a perfect hypotenuse, with a common perpendicular spine from top to bottom. Of course, he would swear and pull his hair when the branches didn't fit in the proper holes. Oh, those round holes. There were a lot of them. This was the ultimate tinker toy. Or Lincoln Logs. Not Lego. It was plastic, but not Lego. This would take the whole day, just like going out in the woods to cut a tree would. Not really practical, since the only trees around where we lived were in Golden Gate Park. And that wouldn't be right. And then later on, when we lived near Dolores Park, and what did they have? Palm trees? That wouldn't be right. But after all that, including a short break to to scrape meat from coconut shells to put snowflakes on the brown mochi pastry my mother would make in the steamer. We'd end up with a tree, and then the string of lights, and a small train around the tree. And I'd sit in all of it in my footy pajamas, holding my prize gift, a cowboy Western six gun, emulating my then hero, Hopalong Cassidy. Under the tree, I was Hopalong Filipino. Happy? I was hoppy for Christmas. The second tree. By the time I was 8, my Ninang Lorraine upped the stakes for everyone. And I went to my cousin Julian's house. He'll be here talking about something in story time. But there we were. In the corner of their dining room, looking out at the street, was their tree. And it wasn't plastic. It was beyond plastic. It was aluminum, like the stuff they cooked the turkey in. An aluminum tree, which, as the cartoons love to remind us, was Mooney Moolah spelled backwards. This was a dazzling display of the holidays. I would stare at that tree and marvel. Stainless steel would be too rigid and heavy. This was aluminum. Aluminum. Soft, light, branches and twigs that would sparkle and bounce. But then, the piece de resistance, the light emanating from a spinning filter over a fluorescent bulb. It would be put on the floor, and it would Roy G. Biv all over the tree. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Roy G. Biv all over the tree. The rainbow in the tree, making it look like it was moving in light. The tree was spinning. This was pre-1968 Summer of Love, before Haight-Ashbury. In my Ninang, San Francisco home, I was hallucinating Christmas, staring at the aluminum tree and all its lights all night long. The third tree. Later, I confess, I saw perhaps some value in real trees. It was 1989, and I was in need of something. Frankly, I was desperate. Maybe a real tree would be better, I thought. I just lost my job. My wife was pregnant. We were paying the mortgage with my severance, and that was running low. And I was looking for jobs all over the country and doing a radio show on an ethnic station to make ends meet. Bay Area Filipino with Emil Guillermo. It was on a staticky AM station. I don't think he could have even heard it that clear. I made enough to buy a real tree. We went down to Safeway by the Mint on Market and DuBose, and I learned the lesson from my dad. What do you look for when you're looking at a tree? Triangles. On top of bigger isosceles triangles, joined at the perpendicular, stacked one on top of another, the triangles. But there are so many imperfect trees. We found one that looked the best. It passed our Pythagorean standard. A squared plus B squared equal, wrap it up and take it home. Put it right up there in front of the living room, by the coffee table, which I used as a desk. I put a tape recorder and my typewriter. Yes, not computer. I said typewriter. I was typing letters on a typewriter next to my princess phone. Yes, I said princess phone. Waiting for a prince to call a meal? No, just a news director from somewhere. I was calling all over the country looking for an opening. I figured the tree, the lights might help. And then one afternoon, when the day had gone from dank to dark and only the Christmas tree lights illuminated the room, the phone rang. It was Adam Clayton Powell III, Vice President of News at NPR. And this is what he said. There's a stack of resumes in front of me, and you're in the correspondence pile, Emil. And I said, yeah, yeah. And he said, wouldn't you rather be in the pile that was for the host of All Things Considered? It must have been the Christmas tree light. It had to be. It was the beginning of the conversations that would get me to NPR in Washington to host All Things Considered. And my wife would get to PETA. She'd be PETA and I'd be Nipper. And I was so excited. I yelled for my wife, Kathy, 9 months pregnant. She had news of her own. Her water had broken. The baby was coming. We raced to the hospital, but we were early. If we stayed out a few hours, they wouldn't charge us for a whole day. So we waited in the car. Then a Datsun 200SX. Still, we waited until there would be room at the end. And by the time we checked in, we were having the baby. We'd gone to Lamaze classes, but it had reached the point where all my wife could say is, drugs, give me drugs. The baby took its sweet time. And by the afternoon on the 22nd, the baby finally decided to come out. They pulled out a bowl of red something. The baby? No, dummy, that's a placenta. Okay. And then they brought out something like that. Is that the penis? We're having a girl. No, that's the umbilical. That's what I get for not taking AP biology. We had a girl, and she was healthy. We got her home. Christmas carols were playing on the radio, in the car, then at home. Oh, holy night. Again and again. But it was different this time, this night, on the coffee table, under the tree, the real tree, and the artificial lights. We placed our daughter in her car seat carrier, our makeshift living room creche, under the tree, in the light. It all made for an unforgettable Christmas. It's why every time I'm in those lights, I feel it. I know it. The moment has come. Merry Christmas, everyone. And it happened exactly that way. So I think I put part one. I put the first Christmas tree up on the Aldif blog, but I hope you'll come back and maybe I'll do this another Christmas, but maybe you'll share this story with your friends. Now, the next storyteller is my godbrother, Nina and Lorraine's son, Julian. He talks about a Christmas before I got to his house to see the aluminum tree. And his tree was, well, I'll let him tell it. He talks about the guy who usually comes on Christmas. And so here he is, Julian Simeon. Okay. All right. Hang tight. Hang tight. Uh, I have to do something here. I have to find the tape again. And here it is. And all right. So here's Julian Simeon. I have to share it. Share it, and because it's there. Ah, here we are. So now we're shared. And now we're shining. And let me kill the music and go full screen. Here's Julian Simeon talking about the guy who comes on Christmas.
I remember believing in Santa. And when I started to have my doubts, we still lived at 112 Gate Street, below Bernal Heights in San Francisco. The youngest of three, I was 5 years old when we moved away from there. My brother, already 10 or 11, told me there was no Santa and that he had proof. My sister at 9 or 10 tried to protect me from such meanness. Why he felt the need to take Santa away from me, I'll probably never know. But I held out. I was determined to prove him wrong. There is a Santa. No, there's not. Yes, there is. The candy in the stocking. Last year, Mom had a big bag of it in her drawer, and she has more this year. There is no Santa. So what? There's a Santa. Mommy! What? What is going on here? Kuya, older brother. Kuya says there's no Santa. Vincente, there is a Santa. It's okay, Anak, my child. It's okay. There is a Santa, Mommy. Mommy, is there a Santa? Of course, Anak. Vincent, go to your room. Don't tell your brother such things. My ate, older sister, came to my side. It's okay, Julian. If you want, I'll read you a story about Santa. Would you like that? She always tried to look out for me. She understood. Later, she read to me. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Yeah, I wanted to prove my brother wrong. I would prove there was a Santa. So that Christmas Eve night, I quietly got out of bed and slipped into the living room. I crawled into the back of our fireplace and waited. I was determined to see Santa. The night grew really dark, really quiet, and really cold, just like in the story. I must have fallen asleep. I woke when I heard my dad's voice. Julian, what are you doing there? Come here. Why are you there? Come out. Come on up there, Anak. Smiling, he picked me up. What are you doing there? I want to see Santa. Santa won't come if you're there. Koya says there's no Santa and that he can prove it. Anak. If you believe there is Santa, there is Santa. But if you don't, well, maybe there's no Santa for him. Come on now, go to bed. I felt comforted in his arms. You better watch out. You better not pout. It's okay, Anak. You will see. Oh, let us leave a cookie and milk for Santa. We woke the next morning. I was excited to open my big gift. I smiled when I saw the empty glass of milk and the half-eaten cookie sitting at the fireplace. Maybe there really is a Santa.
A Santa.
Santa.
I thought you said Sanka. We had Sanka in our house, and Santa drank a Sanka.
Yeah, yeah. Decaf, he'd be out all night.
That was great. You know, you told me ahead of time. You said, "Oh, I don't want to be too corny." Look, this is the holidays, and of course, the reality of Santa is so important. But did you ever think that Santa was maybe a Filipino? Did you ever think Santa was a Filipino?
No, never. No, no.
Never. Come on.
I mean, no snow. There's no snow in the Philippines. You know, it had to have snow, right?
Well, that's why in Hawaii, which is American Philippines,
Okay.
they put Santa on a surfboard.
Okay.
Mele Kalikimaka. Right? Well, I don't know, but
Not
you
as
never
a not as a
thought,
kid.
huh?
No.
Okay, well, all right. I don't question you being Filipino or anything. I'm just I'm just saying if you
I got with a lot of coconuts. So.
yeah. How about the elves? The elves were any of the elves Filipino? Maybe.
maybe. That's a possibility. Yeah.
I mean, the North Pole Filipinos. There are Filipinos up in Iceland. You know, there's a lot of Filipinos
Yeah.
in Iceland.
My godbrother, Julian Simeon. We were, I just asked. He's a storyteller, and I asked him to tell a story, and he came up with that. And that's like he lived on Gate Street, where he had his Santa Claus confrontation with his kuya. And then later on, we got the aluminum tree that I was hallucinating over. But these are our stories. These are our family stories, and this is what Christmas is about. And a small part of me is sad because I'm not with my sister and my daughters, and we're apart, but we're together this way. We're together in the way we can be. And this is the way of Christmas now. And so we're not going to like moan about Christmas past, and we're not going to even think about Christmas future. We're going to think about Christmas now. And this is what we do now. We try to stay safe. We have a maskless Christmas on Zoom. We celebrate with one another, and we tell these stories that are stories of the heart and stories that remind us about what Christmas is about. Not about the food, it's about the joy, it's about the memories. And it's Julian and Nina and Lorraine, I've known them all my lives. And it's just great to reconnect and tell these stories. So that is Emil Amok's holiday Christmas. Well, I asked my Jewish friends yesterday. I said, I notice you guys are throwing around the Christmas thing like you're not like you don't care or you're not offended by the term Christmas. And my friend, the great David Feldman, said, "Oh no, there are more important things." And even the Hirschenfeld said, "No, there are more important things. Wait, Christmas, yes, of course. We'll have the Chinese dinner, we'll see the movie, we'll have a great time." But the thing about Christmas is that for this one day, everyone is focused on the event, whether or not you are Christian or not. People just enjoy the moment, the holiday, and they're gathered and they're around each other. And the focus is about community and it's about love. And even when we can't gather, it's about all those things. Even when it's just a guy talking to a laptop, a guy talking over digital communications, it's still about a sense of being together, sense of community. So that's it. Show 208 in the can. Thank you for joining us on Emil Amok's Christmas Eve holiday story time. Show 208 will be back again On Monday, enjoy your Christmas Eve. Enjoy your Christmas wherever you are. Check out show 207 where I talked about Filipino Christmases with Professor Dan Gonzalez. And go check out all our other shows on our YouTube channel or on Twitter at Emil Amok, and also on our website on amok.com. All right. So as we end all our shows, you get this far in, if you're feeling like, oh, I don't belong, I'm unworthy. No, you belong. You're worthy. You're here. Give your elbows a hug. Yeah. No shame. Go through that door. You belong. And as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time.